I watch Alex face the original ancient battle, him versus the snooze button. He treats it like a negotiation, where the snooze button always seems to have better terms, but today, I've smuggled a plan into his head and he looks mildly suspicious. Trust me, the plan includes caffeine, dignity, and a tiny amount of ritualized dignity saving. First move. Hydrate like you just crawled out of a desert because you did. It's been 8 hours of hard snooze work. I hand Alex an imaginary glass of water and whisper a one-sentence intention. Today, small wins stack into big wins. He nods like a solemn monk who also really likes toast. I taught Alex a 2-minute ritual that costs less than a coffee and produces more dignity than a dozen productivity apps. He breathes in a calm count of 4, exhales 4, and says a short, silly intention out loud, not to impress anyone, but because saying things aloud makes them real and also slightly ridiculous. He smiles at how absurdly powerful 2 minutes can be, which is basically my sales pitch for ritual. We both know pants are optional for half of Alex's meetings, but getting dressed sends his brain a memo. Business time. He picks a simple sky blue tee and smooths it like royalty stroking a cape, then gives himself a nod in the mirror that says, "Let's not embarrass ourselves todays." I quietly vote for the nod as his best outfit accessory. Because Alex is allergic to accountability unless it's packaged as fun, I become his hyper-polite cheerleader/directions giver for 5 minutes. We set one concrete daily intention, not a vague Everest, but a one-liner that fits on a sticky note and won't fight back. He sticks it to the mirror, where it will glare at him lovingly all day. So in under 10 minutes we defeated snooze, hydrated a planet, breathed like yogis with commitment issues, dressed for virtual success, and pinned a tiny war plan to the mirror. Alex looks astonished at how productive a morning can feel when it's short and kind to his willpower. I, of course, take a bow on his behalf because it's exhausting being this charmingly efficient. Alex treats warm-ups like optional pre-show advertisements until I remind him muscles and focus are friends, not distant acquaintances. We do a 5-minute sequence of light stretches, shoulder rolls, and a hamstring flirt with the ground, all designed to stop his brain from staging a revolt around mid-morning. He grins at how ridiculous a toe touch can feel when you do it with purpose. We use breathwork as a tiny free mind hack that resets chaos into calm, and yes, it looks slightly spiritual until you try it, and then it looks like deliberate science. Alex inhales for 4, holds for 4, exhales for 6, and somewhere between breath 2 and breath 3, his eyebrows return to their normal settings. I declare it a win, and he pretends this was all his idea. If Alex tries to solve a problem at his desk, his brain makes polite excuses and goes to nap, so we walk, not in circles of worry, but brisk loops around the block with micro goals to unstick ideas. He talks out loud while I listen and occasionally roll my narrator eyes when a brilliant idea comes out of a bird crossing his path. We sprinkle short bodyweight moves into Alex's day, 10 squats here, a plank there, because discipline is built in tiny bricks, not one gym-shaped boulder. He groans theatrically at push-ups, then does them anyway and looks about 3 inches taller afterward, which I count as posture improvement and emotional growth. These little wins stack, and suddenly his willpower has a mortgage. Scheduling is useful, but energy management is the secret handshake of disciplined people who actually get things done. We map Alex's energy curve, high, wobble, slump, and schedule his toughest work for the crest of his day, which he immediately calls peak Alex hours like it's a premium membership. I hand him an imaginary crown because his confidence deserves props. By the time we're done, Alex has moved, breathed, and schemed his way into a more alert and less grumpy version of himself. I remind him that movement primes attention, like oil primes a squeaky hinge. It just makes everything open more smoothly. He winks at me because he knows I was right, and also because his shoulders finally stopped hurting. "30 minutes is short enough not to require a pep talk, but long enough to build momentum. It's the Goldilocks of productive time." I tell Alex this, as if revealing a scandalous secret, and he starts timing himself like a very determined raccoon. The result? Deep progress, not burnout, which is basically the productivity equivalent of a nap you can be proud of. We structure the sacred half hour like a little story, a quick warm-up, one focused work block, and a tidy close so triumph doesn't leak into chaos. Alex treats the warm-up like a ritual prologue and the close like a bow after a one-man show, and I applaud because ritual helps muscles and habits behave. He loves the predictability. I love that he loves it. Alex used to multitask like a circus act, juggling tabs and losing a sock, but we embraced single-tasking like a revolutionary act of kindness to his brain. He sets one priority for the block and shields it from distractions using a physical barrier, closing apps, silencing notifications, and pretending his phone is an ancient artifact. Watching him protect that little block of time is like watching someone guard a precious cookie, and honestly, it's adorable and effective. We add a tiny ritual to kick off each focus block. A deep breath, a spoken 10-second micro-plan, and a quick stretch that says, "I am ready." Alex always dramatizes the stretch, turning it into a 5-second interpretive dance that makes me giggle and everyone else in earshot question their life choices. But hey, ceremony works, and the work follows. When the timer dings, we don't collapse, we close. Alex spends 2 minutes reviewing progress, jotting the next tiny step, and celebrating one small win like he just scaled a spreadsheet mountain. He records a single sentence about what worked and what didn't because reflection is the secret spice of improvement, and also because I like tidy records of his victories. Repeat the sacred half hour and you get compounding results. Tiny habits that add up to real skill and steady momentum. Alex started skeptical, then curious, then mildly evangelical about his 30-minute blocks, and now he evangelizes in a calm, reasonable way that includes charts. I find it charming and mildly inspirational, but mostly I enjoy being right. Alex has a history of distraction choices that reads like a comedy highlight reel. Social scrolls, snack quests, and research rabbit holes that are mostly memes. We do a quick audit and laugh because laughter turns shame into strategy, which is a nicer combo. He admits his favorites, like a child confessing to an extra cookie, and we make a plan instead of a punishment. I nag. Lovingly suggest that Alex put physical barriers between him and temptation. Headphones on, phone in another room, the cookie jar on a high shelf. He uses a silly little box labeled "Do Not Touch" and looks pleased with his own compliance, as if he's tricked himself into being virtuous. These physical nudges help his willpower conserve energy like a smart thermostat. We weaponize time with Pomodoro sprints, 25 focused minutes and a 5-minute reward, which makes work feel like a series of short, delicious races. Alex loves the tiny victories and times himself with the intensity of someone racing a sloth, then celebrates small wins with a dance that is disproportionate to the achievement and wholly delightful. The method protects his attention and gives his brain a pattern it can learn to expect. If a distraction pulls Alex off course, we use the 2-minute restart. Take 2 minutes to reorient, jot where you left off, and go again. He treats the 2 minutes like a tiny pit stop where he refuels with water, updates his sticky note, and sometimes practices a goofy face to reset morale. It's shockingly effective and also human, which is my favorite combination. We pick a couple of digital tools that serve as allies, not overlords: site blockers, focus playlists, and a calendar that respects sacred blocks. Alex installs apps like a tech-savvy librarian, labeling each one with a clear role and occasionally whispering "good tools" like it's a magic spell. Tools should reduce friction, not create a new circus of notifications, which is rule number 1. Defending your focus is not a one-time parade, it's a daily standing order. Set boundaries, keep them, and forgive slip-ups so you can try again. Alex sometimes slides, which is human and slightly comedic, but he stands back up faster now because the ritual scaffolding supports him. I pat him on the metaphorical back while reminding him the real pats are optional until he earns them. Alex used to view accountability like a pop quiz from an unpleasant teacher, but we rebranded it as friendly check-ins with a hint of cheerleading. The goal is simple: create a structure where small progress gets acknowledged so momentum compounds, not crushed. He now eagerly updates a tiny habit tracker like a proud stamp collector, and frankly, I admire the zeal. We pair Alex with a fellow human who also likes being nudged, and together they set clear, tiny commitments and celebrate small wins out loud. The brilliance is the social contract. When you tell someone you're doing something, you're more likely to do it because embarrassment is powerful. Alex likes the gentle pressure. He vows to text his buddy after every focus block and then proves himself highly text-happy. We keep accountability tiny, a 2-sentence end-of-block report, what I did and the next step, and it's astonishing how clarifying that is. Alex writes his like a tiny newspaper headline and sometimes draws a celebratory doodle, which I approve of as good record-keeping and art. Clarity breeds momentum and reduces the "what's next" anxiety that ruins afternoons. We celebrate wins like they're micro-festivals because reinforcement works better than shame, and I like festivals. Alex gives himself a small reward after a streak, a special tea, 5 minutes of silly reading, or a quick walk with a triumphant stride. The key is emotion. Attach a little joy to progress, and your brain learns quickly to repeat the behavior. Once a week, we do a 10-minute review where Alex looks at what worked, what stalled, and one small adjustment for next week. He treats it like a friendly audit, complete with sticky notes and a slightly dramatic sigh when admitting a poor decision, which we both find entertaining. This keeps growth iterative and enjoyable, not overwhelming. Micro-accountability slowly rewires behavior. Small nudges, consistent tracking, and tiny celebrations create a reliable scaffolding for discipline. Alex doesn't become perfect, he becomes predictably better, which is more useful in the long run and far more human. I applaud his progress and remind him that consistency beats flashy extremes every time. We end the morning with a 2-minute audit where Alex tells me what he did, what worked, and his next tiny step, and I nod like a very subtle coach. This tiny ritual closes the loop and prevents the "what did I even do?" amnesia that sabotages progress. Alex likes the ritual because it gives the morning a tidy ending and a clear next step. We plan a clean exit from morning mode into the rest of the day, a short transition so focus doesn't dissolve like sugar in coffee. Alex chooses a simple action: clear the desk, set a single next step reminder, and take one deep breath before moving on. It's boringly effective and therefore underrated, like plain toast that somehow always tastes good. We wrap with a simple affirmation that is human and actionable: I did meaningful work and I will do more. Alex says it out loud like he's summoning his future self, then immediately smirks because manly affirmations and tiny smiles coexist. It's a short, warm ceremony that adds psychological glue to the morning. We build structure, but we keep flexibility because life throws curveballs and also because Alex sometimes discovers surprise errands involving kittens, which is not negotiable. When the morning derails, we ask, what small action keeps the thread of progress? He learns that adaptation is not surrender but smart pivoting, and I find his kitten stories highly entertaining. We close with a tiny victory ritual that costs nothing and feels celebratory. A one-breath gratitude, a fist pump, and a silly smile to seal the win. Alex performs his victory dance with the level of commitment usually reserved for championship parades, and I cheer because rituals are more fun when theatrical. Then we head into the rest of the day with momentum, dignity, and the faint smell of success that is mostly imaginary. If you take one thing away, let it be this. Small, repeatable rituals tuned to your energy will build the kind of discipline that doesn't demand heroics. Alex didn't become a superhuman overnight. He became steadily better by honoring tiny wins and staying kind to his future self. Now go make your own short ritual and maybe tease someone named Alex about his victory dance on the way out, gently, of course.